Have you ever thought about the fact, and maybe you haven't, that there are some things that don't seem real until they are? Well, what do I mean? Well, when I was growing up, our view of the future was Jules Verne books or science fiction movies. And of course, later on, Star Trek came out. And these gave us a tremendous view of the future, things that we really couldn't imagine being real, and yet they are. When I was growing up, I know it's hard for some to imagine. There were no computers. There were no cell phones. In fact, our telephones were dial up party lines where you had so many rings for so many people. And if somebody's on the phone, you had to wait until they were done or ask them, could I use the phone and break into their conversations? There were no air conditioners around. And one of our very first cars after we got married, we were moving to Texas, and I went and had an air conditioning unit installed in that car because they didn't come standard. See, there are some things that don't seem real until they are. For instance, the telephone itself. After Alexander Bell was successful in getting a working model, he offered to sell his patent to Western Union, which would have been a tremendous buy for them. But as is standard with so many corporations, they formed a committee to make a report after researching it. And listen to what the committee wrote after they researched their Alexander Bell's invention. So the telephone, named for its inventor Alexander G. Bell, he believes that will one day be installed in every residence and place of business. Bell's proposal to place his instrument in almost every home and business is fantastic. The central exchange alone would represent a huge outlay in real estate and buildings, to say nothing of the electrical equipment. In conclusion, the committee feels that it must advise against any investment in Bell's scheme. We do not doubt it will find a users in special circumstances, but any development of this kind and scale, which Bell is so fondly imagines, is utterly fantastic and out of the question. I bet they would have wished to go back a few years later and change that report, don't you? Some things don't seem real until they are, do they? I mean, that's just the way it is. Things that turn out to be real that are sometimes a total surprise to us. Sometimes we recognize that it's a reality when it's too late for us in life. It's just like realizing that Jesus is the Son of God, who he is. Did you ever think about it? Maybe you hadn't. That when Jesus was walking this earth, he really wasn't all that popular. Yeah, I mean, the scripture talks about, a few thousand people following him out of how many? Millions in the country? During his lifetime, though, he wasn't followed by a great number of people, and most of those who did follow him really didn't believe who he was. They came because he could heal. They came because he could give them food. And at one point, when he chastised them for that, most of the people left him because they really didn't believe that he was God in any way, shape, or form. There's some of the most remarkable incidents in the scripture we find are people who seem to believe for a while and then they don't. And one of those things that I was thinking about this morning was at the crucifixion of Jesus. He had gone through the torture, he had gone through the trial, he'd gone through all the things that took place. They nailed him to the cross. They set him up on the cross, and he hung there for a while. And as he was dying, one of the men who had helped put him to death said this. When the centurion, when he stood up against him and saw that he cried out so and gave up the ghost, he said, "Truly, this man is the Son of God." What a realization. When it was too late to do anything, too late to change, he realized it too late. You see, some things don't seem real until they are. You see, you may not really believe that Jesus is God, that he is the Son of God, that he really came to earth. Well, I'm going to tell you, someday you will. And the things that don't seem real will become real, perhaps too late. Think on this because it's something that's important. You may not have a choice. You may not have a chance later on to make the choice, the right choice, to believe that it is real. Have a blessed day today.